an article, I think in Sweden, how to rebuild Mosul after the destruction. And he said, we're going to have a drone robotics, drones coming into and landing, and the drones will be building the bridges. Now the hell is this? Now, okay, technology can help us, that's fine. Fine, technology, but who will drive the technology is us. If I provide you with a car, a super duper car, right, who's going to drive it? It's us. But if we don't have the driver, if we don't have the petrol to run it, if we don't have the road to run it, what's the use of this car? Exactly as this one. You can see it's fancy drawings there, but who's going to use it? You're going to spend money on it. Who's going to use it? But we need to know how to develop it first in a project. That's what's really showing you. You can take the database. This is a graphical presentation of the database, by the way. You can take it in a gradual, so at the design stage of whatever it's an infrastructure you have, or a building, a hospital, could be anything, right? The aim is two things: improve performance and reduce waste. That's the aim. And of course, when you improve performance and reduce waste, you're automatically reducing cost. When people ask me, how are you going to reduce costs? I said, well, look, on average, there's 20% saving, 20% waste in any single project. You eliminate that 20%, you're saving 20%. It's not the rocket science. So how we eliminate that 20%? Okay, technology could help us, and it would be great if we know how to use it. In the UK, it's been mandated, and I'll talk about that in a second. 2 years ago by the government, and it's being really mandated across the world. The BIM, the Building Information Management. But let me introduce you to what we do very quickly. I was an academic for 30 years. We had a company called Unisearch. We focus on project management and BIM management. I don't want to start marketing myself, but that doesn't work. It's not me. It doesn't work. Right. We have plenty of projects, particularly in Abu Dhabi. We've done really leading work, and we saved the clients. I'm going to talk about that in a second. The work that we did over the past 4 years, we've got international awards for it from Bentley and from the RICS. But let me start first with the CIOB, a survey which came out really done by Construction Manager last April, after 2 years of mandating BIM by the British government. Right? The government says, well, every project that we do now, it has to be BIM based. We want to achieve 20% saving. Look what the survey did. They said, where is the 20%? We're not seeing the 20%. Where is the saving? What does it look like? That's after 2 years, that's UK, right? Thanks for Construction Manager, of course. Now, the other thing is, client, they have no idea what is BIM and what they want. The client who's paying the money, okay? Then the other thing is, what we have is about 40% number of clients who are mandating BIM as declining. Because what happens is now they're investing in BIM, they're spending money in these computers and software, but they're not getting any really real benefits. That's not me, that's a survey. So here we are. What we're saying here is enthusiasm for BIM is getting now slower. Executives are staying away from this technology. They said this is a technical stuff. This is technicians, not us. We're a decision maker. This is another CAD tool coming here. It's not the case, but I'll come to that in a second. And so on. Now people saying, well, the government should push more on implementing, should invest more to push this technology into construction. My goodness, me and Ghassan, we've done the first prototype in '96, and nothing happened. In 2000, I remember in 2001, in 1996, we presented that to McAlpine and John Lang at the time, and both directors said, wow, did you test it in anger? That means, have you implemented it? I said, it's your turn. We are academics. This is a proof of concept. Nothing happened. I remember 2003, the Department of Environment said, we're going to use this technology in 5 years' time. That means in 2003, this will be implemented. Nothing happened. Why? Because we're creating a car and there are no drivers. There are no roads. That's the problem with technology. Don't expect anything that comes up is going to be used and we get, wow, we get surprised by this technology. It's going to be fantastic. It doesn't work like that. However, on the positive side, there are some increase in the use of software, but in silos. The problem with how we deliver our projects, we have consultants, then we have a tender stage, and then we have contractors, and they work separately. Each of those use the technology on their own to meet their own requirements. And at the end, the clients get nothing. But if there's any bad news, the client will pay. You can ask a question, we'll leave that to really later. The reason why this is happening, this is not new. We started 2003. After all this, I said, why this is not happening? And apparently it's across the industry. It's not only construction. If you go to other industries, it's exactly the same. 70% of IT projects, e-government projects, they failed. 70%. And the reason, because of people, because of procurements, because of practices. Okay? Now this curve shows you, because it's mandated, the technology or digitization, because it's mandated, everybody goes on the bandwagon. And then after a while, they said, we spend a lot of money, we're not getting any benefits. What's happening here? So they stop spending, so it goes down. Until it's really saturated, and then it's settled, and people start to evaluate, try to see how best we use this technology, and then we move on. They'll start to get the benefits. That's really what's happening. Now, I think, we're here in the UK. Right. Let me start by differentiating two things, between the car and the way we drive the car. Right, what we have normally, what you talk, what you see, what you read, whatever, if you know about this technology, it's all how we're gonna develop the model, how beautiful the model is. It looks at 3D, it looks MEP, it's there, you click on it, gets the information. That's one side of it, and the focus at the moment is there. But this is like a production car, a production line. If you have a car and a production line, right, this is the production line, but who feeds that production line? That's the supply chain. Where is it? This is treated as, we got 2D drawing, we pass it on to the 3D guys. Oh wait, yes, we're implementing BIM, whatever it's called, right? We're implementing it, we employed somebody, we give him some sort of X dirhams or pounds or whatever salary, and they will do it for us. That's BIM, that's not BIM. What we have is, we have the other side of it, which is not seen, is the supply chain. From the clients, the contractors, the consultant, the suppliers of materials, everybody, the client, all there, they're working together, right? And that working together, that's the collaboration, that's the essence of saving. If we look at saving and saving, trying to reduce the waste, is the collaboration. How can we work together, the consultant, the contractors, the subcontractors, the suppliers, factory, everybody, to reduce waste? So when we bring something, an air conditioner into this building, we know exactly when to put it in and how it fits in. Okay? And if we do that, there's a lot of coordination is taking place. I need to look at it. Coordination, collaboration, information exchange, whether we use our technology or not, that's happening already, but in different ways, manually or not. Okay? Roles and responsibility are identified by contracts, all there. But some of the contracts are really preventing us from working together. But we'll not talk about that. So what we need is, the other thing is, now if we get that collaboration done, then we identify how to use that technology. Where this technology is going to take us, what benefits we're going to get out of it. It'll be easier to create value. So the people who are around here at the half of the screen will understand what we want out of this technology, and then they will ask the technical people to get what they want. Now it's a different picture, you see, right? It's not the the technical guys who's developing the model who says, yes, we got BIM. No. Okay, fine, that's great. But at the same time, the management, I'm going to focus on this, stress that and double lines. The management here will tell or drive the technical people on what to do. and not how to do it, but what to do and what they get out of it. Now, how it is done, leave it to the technical guys. But I want that to deliver A, B, C, D for me. Can you do it, guys, for me? That's really the difference. So if we do that, then the production line will get beautiful models who can help us across the project life cycle. And then we will save lots of money. Not only because construction people save 40%. You can say, if you implement it in the right way, you can save 40% of the estimated cost. Right? If you implement it during operation and maintenance, you go over 60, but there's no statistics yet to prove it. Right. I'm going to talk very quickly, really. I'll go over the principles. I know it's going to keep it as general as possible. I'll very quickly go over the collaboration and then on the methodology that we use. I'll focus on it on an example, real examples, $100 million project. And then I will show you the benefits that comes out of it very quickly. Basically, the client appoint us to deliver quality, to deliver saving. He didn't know anything about BIM or the technology, right? So what he did, he set up a structure on our recommendation. Basically, he started from the top. He has the power, he has the committee at the top, and then we, as the project managers, and I insist that we are the project manager and BIM manager because there's a great collaboration and possible overlap, and possibly Charles here will help me. There's a great overlap between project management and BIM, and who is going to be in charge of the project. That's another issue here. But basically what you have, we were doing the BIM management, so we are overlooking the design and construction and facility management all at the same time. This is the project. I'm not going to go through it. It's really, as I said, 100 million, give you about 90,000 square meter. That's the smallest one we had. So the first thing we did is we set a roadmap. We brought, it was a traditional contract. Now you said, how we do collaboration. The contractor wasn't there. And I'll talk to you how we brought the contractor in at the design stage. Right, so we've done a lot of training. Training is really critical for people to know what they need to do. We've done a lot of, we create common objectives among them. That's us, this is our role. Setting procurement approach and so on. I'm not going to go into the detail, but it's a roadmap showing what we have done. This is the roadmap. Then let's look at the procurement side of it, which is really important. And what Paula was saying yesterday is critical. Procurement defined the roles and responsibility. Otherwise, no consultant, no contractor will do anything if you're not asked them to do. Remember Paula what said? Making money. They want to make money. But who's going to do this? It's the client. Anyhow, this is how we did it. At design stage, when the design started to increase, got into the schematic stage, I'm not going into the detail for those who are not really familiar with the process, but we followed the preferred contractor approach. We evaluate the contractors and we brought them in. As a preferred contractor, no legal contract signed. And then we got the MEP subcontractor when the detailed design stage, again on a preferred subcontractor approach, without any legal agreement from the client. We modified the contracts accordingly, so there will be clear deliverables on what they achieve, all of them. Roles and responsibilities are defined very clearly from the BIM, from the technology point of view, by the way. What KPIs, what they need to deliver at each stage and how we measure them as a client representative. We got into the methodology we used. Again, we started with the life cycle. I'm not going to go through it, really starting by identifying you, following the standards, the British standards, defining the client's requirement to start with, getting into evaluating the partners, developing the model and monitoring the model itself, the 3D, and then got into the construction stage, exactly follow the same process, and the facility management at the same time. So that's really, we have a very clear road. So we painted the road. And this is, like I said, the car, we have the car. The technology, we built up the infrastructure for technology. So BIM, as we speak, everybody talk about, is the bottom half. But what about the rest? So BIM is really a small bit of digitization. And the focus of the industry at the moment, and it is vendor-driven, which you can't blame them. These people want to sell their products. But this is the infrastructure that we did for the project. Data exchange, again, we used Bentley standards. This is one of the things that we got a prize for. We used, I'm not going to go into the details of various applications. We identified them. We created standards to exchange information between applications, and we passed the information to iPads to be shared. A process map, really critical. Now, this is, I want to stop here for a second or two. When we say, those who understand BIM, they said a clash detection. Okay, this software will do the clash detection, but who is responsible for it? Who's going to check on it? Right? How do you believe the consultant 100% if there are thousands of clashes? Right? This is the process. It defines the roles and responsibilities of each party and how the data will be shared to identify these clashes and make sure that the clashes are solved on behalf of the client. So this is one. When you move on into the contractor, when the contractor takes over, goodness me, the complex will be much bigger, the complexity much bigger. The lots of parties, how you identify their roles and responsibilities. We did one. And that varies from one project, depends on their roles and responsibilities. Here, the BIM was outsourced to a third party, so the entire process changed. Yusuf, this is the one I'm talking about. Right, achievements, very quickly now. Design stage really, very quickly, I know we're running out of time, integrated, 3 minutes, design, coordination, all this stuff. They're really fun. I'll show you some of the statistics. Here, for example, for 18,000 clash detection. And if you can imagine, if you save only part of it, you're saving huge amount of project management time. It's a huge amount of money for the clients. The other thing is when we involve the contractor evaluated the design pre-tender stage. And the design was modified accordingly, according to contractors' requirements. The same thing for the subcontractor. Again, this is the MEP. You can see a full model, but we know exactly how the model will be used for the project. At the tender stage, when we put it in, there's only 9 queries of $100 million. When I say that to people, they don't believe it. Mainly because the design was consistent. This is the estimated tender cost price, or tender price from the different 5 contractors. You can see the difference, but the difference is really 5% only between this very small contractor and a very large contractor at the top. And now the client regrets of not giving it to the big contractor. Construction stage is the same thing, very small RFPs, it's really the 4D, you can do a lot of, strategic procurement, the data is there. This is a nice one. When the contractor provided us, according to the instruction and the KPIs that they have to deliver, right, they provide us with the 4D, the simulation of construction, basically. Look at that. Now, this is the first, I saw that, I said, stop, let me have a look at, what is this, the blue thing on there? And you know what that was? That's the pipes, the MEP. According to construction plan, the pipes are being built before the structure. And you can really, with BIM, you can see it in 2 minutes. You don't have to go through hundreds, and nobody goes through hundreds of these CPM diagrams. No one. But this in 2 minutes. And imagine if that goes on, who will pay for the MEP subcontractor when they go to site? The waste, that's the waste, is the client. All right. Again, information can be, once you have the information, you can really present it in a nice format. We use 3D to manage the sites. You can see the difference, the value from the model in a 3D compared to a 2D CPM diagram. And then they were delayed, and then we managed through really training and monitoring the contractor, they really quickly catch up using the 3D model. If you know how to use it though, that's the question. Saving wise, this is where the client was, he employed us to do this and we got him. And believe me, we didn't put a lot of efforts into, because of contracts. But with this bit of a small effort, we saved him 14%. That 14% of 100 million, that's a lot of, that's 14 million you're talking about. That's for him, he got the design free, got the project management free, and the BIM management free. And of course, the quality of the design, right? Yeah, okay, I'm gonna finish. Basically, because now the technical side of it and the management side of it, we done a training program, developed training program for the management. The technical side is a lot of happening, but the management side is really critical. Say, you know, you're talking about skills, capacity, liability, insurance, management processes, and so on. That is not done yet. And we've done a program to do that, really. The program consists of 3 modules. I'm not going to talk about that. If anybody interested, we can have a chat later.
Thank you very much. I'm very conscious that we don't leave Mustafa live without one question, but just one question. Any burning question for Professor Al-Shawi, please? Thank you very much.
Professor Mustafa, thank you very much. Fantastic presentation as usual. This is working, yes. Yesterday, after the conference, I met with a building owner. And I was showing him the, I was very proud of what we are doing here and the proceedings and he read it. He misread sustainability. I think he read it substantial or something. I said, well, this is sustainability. So he said, what is sustainability? Now this is a developer, a building owner, doesn't know what sustainability is. And I tried to explain it to the, as simply as possible. What I'm trying to say, and he's a client, this is a client. What I'm trying to say here is that there's a huge gap still between what we are talking about and some part of the industry is applying BIM and understanding BIM, and I 100% agree with you that it's still as simply, people are fascinated with the pictures they see and what the program can produce, and immediately they get they throw the whole thing on the consultant, and of course the consultant will throw it on the contractor. Now, how can we reduce that gap? I mean, there is really, these are basics. The client comes to a project, and lots of clients go to projects, and and can cause lots of waste afterwards because of this misunderstanding or this lack of understanding. I mean, talking about projects, I know of a project, I visited the project in Abu Dhabi, more than 500 million dirham. The project was completed and they didn't include roads, they didn't put electricity connections, no water connection. The project was completed and redundant for the 3 years I knew of. I don't know if it's still working, if they have resolved it now. And simply because the client did not appreciate the full process that you have actually mentioned. Thank you.
It's really, many thanks, Aslam. It's a really big question here. Now, it has to be client-driven. It must be client-driven. Private sector clients are definitely not aware of it. I would say, I say definitely not 100%, but the majority of them not aware of it. Government clients still trying to understand what it is. Seriously, it's not a big, now in our discussion, when we talk about BIM, I think talking to clients, its awareness is a must. But when we talk to clients, we have to speak their language. They're interested in cutting cost, right? Second thing, they want to get the job as quickly as possible so they get the return. If you, through these 2 points, if you manage to convince them without showing, I mean, the same thing when the client came in, he said, they have huge portfolio, really around the world. He said, well, our costs are going up by 5% year on year. We need to stop it. Can you help us? He had no idea what